of New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Up next, we have a F-Zero GX run by Valyssa. And let's hope you'll get a pretty good run. I believe.
Alright then. So, are we good to go? Yeah? Alright, so I guess I'll start a countdown then. So, ready on the timer? Still look kinda busy.
1.
Alright, so welcome everybody. This is F-Zero GX. We're hopefully going to be going fast. So we're going to start off things pretty easily with Fat Shark, which is a fairly straightforward way of driving. Later on we'll be seeing a few more different play styles.
And I'll be explaining some of the tricks he will do and some of the more intricate details of the run. Especially during later levels where it's harder to keep talking, play at the same time.
Yeah.
So what you saw there, him grinding the rail, is a fancy trick called a momentum turbo rail slide. I know it's really fancy name, but basically what happens is you initiate a drift turn, and then you strafe in the direction you're going. And for some reason the game is like, yeah boy, that's the stuff, and just gives you a massive speed boost. You can see it here. This is normal drift when strafing in the opposite direction. So this it gives you the speed boost as well. This is a normal momentum turbo slide, and you can see you can just see on the speedometer it just shoots up every time you initiate one of those drift turns. And yeah, that was quite fast.
Yeah, there's a more optimal machine to use here, but I just really prefer to use Fat Shark. It's not a huge time loss in the end, especially in the later tracks, because you can use Fat Shark right off the bat, but the other machine is a custom machine, which involves the garage data, which takes an extra 5 seconds. So whenever Fat Shark is a viable option, it's better to go for it. So this track has a pretty cool trick. Hopefully I'll be able to pull it off. And other than that, I'm trying to hit as many boost plates as I can, because they do stack. If one boost is going, you can still hit another one, and you'll get an extra little boost. I'm also trying to hit the boost plates on the side, because that gives you a tiny extra boost for some reason. I have no idea why it works.
I think it's 1.5%. Oh, rip.
Nope. I thought it was 10% for Fat Shark. It also differs per vehicle, because different vehicles have different boost strengths and boost lengths.
Yeah.
So it's something involving that. I don't know the specifics. I just know that I try to hit as many as I possibly can. So I want to get this jump at least once, and then we're going to play it safe. Okay, apparently we're not going to get it on this lap. But yeah, it's kind of tricky, because you have to have a good angle when you lift off. But also, it's a very specific spot when you lift off. It also depends on your speed, so it's between 2 attempts, it's not going to be exactly the same.
Yeah,
Spin attacking helps a tiny bit. So yeah, that's it. So that makes sure you don't have to slow down, to make sure you don't fly off unintentionally. And it also allows you to land with a lot of speed, because dives in this game are very powerful.
The spin attack basically breaks your grip and makes it easier to angle yourself for the jump. So that's why it's more consistent to do a spin attack, especially in a run setting like this. It makes sense to do a spin attack jump.
It also helps to avoid that boost plates, because if you lift up with more speed, you're going to be going more forward, and yeah, that just doesn't end up working for me, usually. So for this track, we're going to be switching to somewhat of a different playstyle. This is a vehicle you'll be seeing quite a bit. I really like this one, even if it's not optimal on some of the tracks. But basically, this machine is very heavy. It has decent boost, but it also gets a lot of speed from side attacks, which you haven't seen so far, but you're going to be seeing quite a bit whenever I use Ganon Star. So if you just look at my speedometer, it just boosts up. So whenever I'm turning, I either want to be doing an MTS, like I've been doing with Fat Shark, or I want to be side attacking.
As you can see here, you can also chain these MTSs and then cancel them out with side attacks in between and keep your speed. Normally, if you exit an MTS, you'll exit at like way lower speed than you go in with. But using side attacks just like keeps your speed up.
Yeah, also I'm not letting go of the accelerator in the MTS, which means I'm doing a turbo slide rather than a momentum turbo slide. And that just helps you keep a bit more control, because whenever you press A, you regain your grip, which means you kind of get some forward momentum. And considering you're facing like 90 degrees, that can be pretty inconvenient. There's a bit of a speed loss, like it's not quite as fast as MTS chaining, but it's still like pretty decent. So for consistency's sake, this is the better option for me.
Oh, you almost got shift boost there.
Almost, yeah. We'll be mentioning shift boost some more later on.
Yeah.
Or
Sure,
I guess if you want to explain it out, that's also okay.
I'd rather explain it when people can like really see what's happening with it.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, for now it's just like trying to get some decent chaining going, try not to hit the walls.
This track can be a bit weird because it has like 2 different elevations, and like sometimes the height difference can really mess up your day. Like either you lose speed or like just other janky things happen because the physics engine in this game is just can be a real meme sometimes.
Yeah, like whenever you go over a... that's a top 10 time. That's a shame. I've been trying to fill my top 10 to make sure this doesn't happen too much, because it has to save and it's a bit slower. But yeah, whenever you go like down a slope, you'll regain your grip. So whenever you lift off, you're pretty much going to be going straight to the side because you're MTSing. You're at a 90-degree angle. So generally, we're very careful around like slope surfaces. Speaking of which, we're going to be seeing a lot more of that in this track.
Yeah.
Alright, so this is a spiral. It's like perfect for MTSing. So just one long MTS and then try not to hit the wall on exiting, but it's pretty tricky.
Especially if you're starting out and you want to practice, like just like practicing to control your MTS through that turn without hitting any walls is like really good practice when you want to start like doing GX runs and stuff. It's like really important to master all these small tricks.
So yeah, this track has some really weird shapes going on. So it's really difficult to try to MTS chain on.
Especially the latter part of the track. First it's like a roof shape with the track going up in a point in the center, and on the other side it's inverted. So it's like you have this small like hole in the middle, kinda. And it just like, it really messes with your machine's positioning. You can see here, like, when you go over that, it just makes it a pain in the ass to keep like doing these in this case, turbo slides.
There's also something funny about loops, is that you can keep an MTS going for a lot longer. Like you don't go to the side quite as much.
Yeah, also if you drift during a loop, there's no collision for the walls for some reason. We don't really know why, but that's just like the excellent programming in this game.
I mean, this game was built on the Super Monkey Ball engine, which is like quite a difference.
I really doubt it sometimes though when I'm playing.
Yeah.
When you get bounced around, you just feel like you're playing Super Monkey Ball. Nice.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. As long as you like go over the finish line while your machine is exploding, you'll still make it, unless you take too long. Like after a certain amount of time, it'll just explode and then it's an instant retirement instead of still being able to finish. Which thankfully we can also make use of sometimes. No, we're not going to use the Cosmic Dolphin or Blue Falcon, they both suck. So this vehicle right here is used because it has the best boost in the game, like straight up. It says it has a B rank, but that's false. A lot of the stats in this game are just straight up lies. Because this machine has really strong boost, and it also has like a super long boost. So with those two things combined, like just the amount of speed you get from one dash blade is pretty crazy.
Yeah, this track is quite intricate. It's in the Ruby Cup, but it's like, I would say it's like one of the more all-round tracks in the game, because there's like so much that you usually do comes into play in this track. From a lot of like momentum throttling, which is like when you go over certain speed, it's not beneficial to keep on your accelerator because you lose speed faster with your accelerator on than off, which is why you'll see him. That's why you see like Val turning off his engine, for example here, and only turning it on when he gets a boost.
She gets a boost.
Yeah, sorry.
It's alright. Alright, so right here hopefully we're gonna get a shift boost. We didn't, but at least we can clear the hump as opposed to on lap 1, which I kinda messed up. And that means we can land with a lot of speed.
And especially this part, if you can keep up your speed in this, it's super good because like these boost plates are spaced so perfectly. You can just like get insane speeds and just keep them up into the next lap, which is like paramount to getting a good time on this this track.
So I hit the wall right there, but it wasn't too big of an issue. It didn't impact my speed that much. I missed the shift boost again, unfortunately. But that's okay, I got a really good refill. So in case you haven't noticed yet, I use my energy to boost, which is both my life and my boost meter. And you refill that by just going over those little, like, color, rainbowy energy pits.
Nice.
Okay. Usually I mess up that MTRS. If you start it from too far away, you just start bouncing off of the wall. And it's really bad, it just kills your speed. I'm sure we'll see that at some later point in the run.
Just looks really silly. You're just like humping the
Yeah.
wall. It's like, well.
So this is another track where Quickstar would be a lot faster, but it would involve loading garage data, and also I'm bad at using Quickstar, so we're gonna use Fat Shark.
Also, the quickstar strats for this track is quite intricate because it involves a lot of like miniature momentum turbo slides into shift boots, which are like quite hard to pull off consistently. And you're not used to using the machine?
I used to be, but like I'm just so inconsistent at it, it's not worth it for RTA.
Yeah.
Another viable option here, well, not really viable for a world record, but for getting a good time, you can use Ganon Star, but again, that involves loading garage data, which takes a while.
Yeah, in this game there's like a really big discrepancy between machines. It's not very well balanced.
Not at all.
Like from all of the standard machines, which are 30, there are no 40,
41.
41 because AX machines.
Yeah.
There's only two really viable ones, which are Black Bull and Fat Shark, and all the other ones are just not good enough. And then there's a bunch of custom machines which are really good.
Yeah. I guess we should explain how custom machines work. There's 3 different parts. There's the cockpit, there's the body, and the booster. And you have 20... Wait, how many parts do you have again?
I don't know, it's...
I think you have like 20 by default, and then with the AR parts you have 25 of each. So there's
Yeah.
like a ton of combinations that are possible. But it's basically been narrowed down to Titan G4 is the best booster. Thunderbolt V2 is pretty okay too, but I'm not going to be using that.
Thunderbolt is good in certain situations because it's better at keeping speed.
It's also the best for snaking. So if you put your machine settings all the way to the left on max acceleration, then you can start snaking, which I won't be doing in this run because, well, it's first off, it's really difficult, and second, it really kills your hands. So that's why the community is settled on max speed settings, because this makes snaking... It's still possible with some machines, but it's not nearly as powerful.
Yeah. If you were snaking, like you go up to like without boosting, you just like move very rapidly from left to right. Oh, I'll explain that dive in a bit.
Yeah.
And it just gives you insane speed for some reason. Alright, so what Val did there, he started a side attack dive. Side attack dives give you a lot of speed, and then she pulled up, and pulling up the second time just gives you the opportunity to do a second dive, which gives you way more speed into the latter section of the track. And it's just like very useful for keeping speed into the other lap as well.
Yeah, the risky thing about this is if you pull up too far, you start losing speed rapidly, and then you just drop like a brick. And there's a little shift boost that actually launched me way too high. I missed some refill, but that's
Was
not
okay.
too bad.
This track's just really fun to look at.
It's really fun to play too.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. Like especially with the dive, like everything just flows so well together. Okay, that's if you pull back too far, so thankfully I managed to save it, otherwise that would have just been death. Which, this is not like Mario Kart, so if you die, it's over. You have to restart the race. So yeah, that was pretty okay. Okay enough for top 10, apparently. Oh yeah, that's also the BSG logo, which I imported with GameCube Memory Card Manager, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You can also make the emblems in-game, but it takes a lot of work. It's like pixel by pixel, and you have to find the exact color values. It takes a long time, so someone just made a PC tool for it. It's really good.
It's nice. This game also has recently had a surge in modding activity. So there's like a bunch of crazy mods you can have on this game. There's F-Zero GX Unleashed, which is like a balance mod kind of by AKC, and it just like adds a bunch of values to machines so they're more viable. Of course, there are still machines that are a bit better than others, but generally it makes the game more enjoyable with more machines, which is nice. Then there's GX Extreme, which is completely bonkers.
Yeah, I love it.
For example, this machine in GX Extreme, if you don't press the accelerator, you just go up to... it just keeps accelerating for some reason.
Yeah, like the way it works is that you have a drag value, so that determines how quickly you slow down. So what Supersonic did is he made it negative, so whenever you're not accelerating, you're just like speeding up. Which sounds really counterproductive, but that's how it works. It's really difficult to control. Like, you'll shoot up to 4,000 kilometers per hour pretty easily.
I can really recommend playing those mods. It's great fun.
Yeah.
And there's also been a bunch of like texture mods coming out and stuff, just making the game more aesthetically pleasing. It's really cool.
Yeah,
See
like,
that activity.
I don't think Green Plant is like super interesting to look at, but then like people just made it like more interesting to look at. It's, I don't know. It's more variety. Unfortunately, we're not at the point yet where custom tracks are possible, but it is being worked on, sort of. Oh my god.
Rip.
I tapped A there, for some reason. Which, yeah, that makes you regain your grip and then you're just like facing the wall. Don't do that. That kind of reminded me of like F-Zero SNES or Maximum Velocity where you want to finish second, so you just slam into the wall at the end. Yeah, there's a lot of fat shark going on here. The track that's coming up is not too interesting. It's a huge pipe. There's a few boosters lying around, and
It's one of the more boring tracks, actually.
yeah.
It's not much going on. But like, pipe physics in this game can be really wonky, so maybe you'll see some interesting stuff happening.
Maybe. So the biggest challenge about this track initially is just like remembering where all the boost plates are. Which once you get used to it, it's pretty okay. But even then, they can be a bit hard to hit sometimes.
Yeah, what you want to do with Fat Shark loses a lot of speed when you're steering with the stick. So it would be optimal if you could just like quick turn all of those boost plates, but it's hard to do that.
Yeah, you just kind of start sliding around and you start losing speed anyway. It's really difficult to get a proper handle on.
I haven't explained how you do a quick turn though, but I'll try to.
Oh yeah, I guess we haven't.
Basically, what you quick turn is like a really sharp turn, which you initiate by pressing both shoulder buttons, which starts a drift, and then you let go of one and then you strafe into a direction, which creates this really sharp turn, and it's also faster than any other form of turning in the game. And in some rare cases, it's even like possible to give you speed when the track is going up. for some reason. I don't know why that works like that. But
Or on ice, you also
Yeah.
start accelerating. I don't know why it works, but this game has some interesting physics. Then again, this is the same game that you can just like fly, literally. Which, yeah, unfortunately I'm not going to be able to show off, but you can space fly in this game. It's kind of interesting on one side, but on the other side, like to look at, you're kind of just looking at a void the entire time.
yeah.
Because you're trying to hit invisible checkpoints and then manipulate them in such a way that you don't explode upon landing back on the track, and then you're just trying to skip the whole lap. Like, the theory behind it is super interesting to me, but the runs themselves, not so much.
It's also really hard to get into that because there's so little
Yeah.
data on it.
Which,
There's
thankfully, Yoshi-fan has been working on, like, documenting a lot of the space-flying routes. But some of them are just super tight. Like, there's... The way checkpoints work is that they kind of extend infinitely to the sides, and because of the way the track turns, sometimes those checkpoints will all like cross each other. And for some space flying tracks, you have to like hit exactly where they touch each other, and then you can trick the game to thinking you're like further ahead or like not making you explode or whatever. So I'm not sure how precise it is, but like on one frame you would have to cross all those checkpoints, like 5 of them that cross at the same time.
and this is one of the more interesting tracks to look at in the game.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's so much fun, but it's also super risky, so would not be surprised if I die here a few times. But I want to show off the cool strats.
They're really cool. Just involves a bunch of flying around, going really fast. And it's just in general very spectacular. So yeah, you just kind of casually skip half of the track there by just like launching away from that tunnel with those mines and landing on the boost plate and the jump plate. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm just gonna play it safe now, because you could do it on all laps, but it's super scary. We're just gonna land safely down here. Which means my boost lap is slower than my opener, but that's okay. Try not to speed up too much from those mine boosts.
Oh, rip.
I figured that was gonna happen. Yeah, that's the downside of trying to MTS into those jump plates, but
You have to, otherwise you don't get the lift off to skip like the small section after the jump plates.
it's impossible to play this track normally. Once you learn the strat, you just have to go fast. I didn't expect to land on that. I thought it was slightly more to the left. Okay, we're just gonna do lap 1, hopefully this same way, and then on boost laps we're not even gonna go for the MTS into the jump plates, just to make sure we don't get stuck here for too long. Okay, we're not even gonna get the mine boost, so that's okay. You got to see what it's meant to look like, which is really what I wanted.
Especially later when we show the task, you can really see what's like possible in this game, and it's really, really mad.
It is actually insane. Oh yeah, big shout out to Captain for getting that map like solo as far as I heard. That's gonna be awesome. Like if you thought what I did just there was crazy, just wait. It's so painful to play this track normally.
Well, at least we get to see the entire track now.
Yeah.
Gotta look on the bright side, I guess.
So yeah, for reference, my PB that does the crazy skip on all laps is 48 seconds. Ooh. It's okay, I know the menus.
Oh god.
It's okay. Fat Shark, there we go. Oh, that one works better. Okay. I'm just gonna look at the capture.
Oh no.
This TV is there's like nothing visible, so hopefully I can pull something off. I figure
No, it's back.
Oh, it's back.
Oh, different color now, but
It's a nice warm color for Fiery Field.
again, this is like the second cylinder track. First, like actual cylinder where you drive on top in the game, and these have like the best physics.
Yeah, it's quite something. You'll probably see it sometime during this run.
There's a really big like hump coming up, which gives you a lot of speed if you like that.
Yep.
And yeah, that's what we call a shift boost. And if you leave the track for a bit and then come back on, and then if you tap the accelerator after, it just gives you this massive speed boost, which can create in like certain like tracks where there's no railing on the side, you can like go insanely fast.
Yeah, you'll see in Diamond Cup. It's ridiculous and I love it. And there we go. Nice little lift off there. And unfortunately I lost the speed immediately because I lifted off again, but without like a shift boost or anything of the sort. So right there you could already see like the bumps can really mess you up. Just like send you to the sides and everything.
Rip.
Yeah. So what's meant to happen there is that you get one shift boost and you're holding up on a control stick, so you're like landing immediately. And then there's another shift boost because you lift off just like for a tiny amount of time. But if you hit the shift boost like the first one at the wrong speed, then you're not going to be going at the right speed to get the second one, which will then just slow you down immensely.
And it's like really nice to get that shift boost as well, because there's a bunch of boost plates further up, and you can just like keep your speeds super well through that section if you execute it right. So it's quite important that you get that double shift boost there.
Alright, pretty clean so far. There we go.
Nice.
It's a trick to try and stay on the inside here, because that's where the boost plates are. But when you drift to the side, like it's really difficult to stay on the inside. It's also possible to get a shift boost there at the transition of the corner, but
Those are pretty nice cylinder.
yeah, it wasn't
actually.
bad.
It's up to 30.
Rank 3, wow.
Yeah.
That'll do it. It's kind of weird how sometimes being faster means you end up losing time in this run. It's kind of unfortunate, but it's okay.
Speaking of wonky tracks,
Yeah,
if this track goes right, we're in for a treat, because
if it goes right.
there's this section in the tunnel where you can just chain shift boosts one after another, and you can just like go ludicrously fast through that tunnel. Look very swag in the process.
Hopefully I'll be able to get that on at least one of the laps. We're gonna try to position ourselves like in a very precise spot. It's gonna lift us off in such a way that it gives us a double shift boost. I think
Sha-
I'm too far to the left.
Yeah.
On the opener, it is the most difficult to get.
Shout out to eDragon's amazing video with the
Top tier microphone.
and the Microsoft Paint arrows.
Yeah, there's been quite a few tutorials for this game, so... Well, it is a very intimidating game to get into. There are a lot of resources now to help you get started. Also that right there, by doing the MTS, and because of the track being slightly curved, you don't hit that wall, the outer wall, so you kind of use that to keep in line with the track.
Nice.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go.
Nice.
The last one is the most important, because then you enter this part with so much more speed. So that was a really nice lap.
Oh.
Ooh, okay. That's okay. I'm alive.
Yeah, sometimes the wall nation just attacks you and there's nothing you can do.
I'm just lucky I didn't fly over the rail.
Yeah.
That would have been bad. That very well could have happened.
Especially in the tunnel, because like going over the railing and hitting into a wall in that tunnel just causes instant death.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm not sure why it instantly explodes you. I don't know if it's part of the track, like it's a different checkpoint, so it thinks you're skipping ahead or something, or... Like, it's a similar effect to if you were skipping ahead too far. Which you wouldn't say if you saw that serial gaps run in the second cup, but you know. It works because of hitting checkpoints in the air and not going too far without landing in between. So 205 is not bad at all. PB is 158, so all things considered, I'm pretty happy with that.
This track's pretty interesting as well, because there is like a really cool section where you just do a bunch of shift boosts and then go up into a loop, and it just looks really nice, and it's like very satisfying to get right.
Yeah, and because of the loop physics, you can do the weird NTS and you'll keep going forward while you're facing to the side. It looks really weird, but it's so cool. So hopefully I'll be able to get a few shift boosts here. You've seen the ones that are like on the track, so this is where you'll first see them going off of the track, which you'll see a lot more in Diamond Cup.
It's a very precise trick.
Which is why I'm being very careful about it. Yeah, that's an MTS, as weird as it looks. You just kind of stick to the wall without hitting it, and you're just accelerating because it's an MTS. Up to a certain point, of course.
This track is really weird as well, because there's a lot of sections where if you go too fast, you just get like launched off. So it's like, this track is quite dangerous actually for...
Yeah, if you really want to squeeze out every single frame, you're going to be taking a lot of risks. Like right here, I'm just going to let off the accelerator for a bit, just in case.
In some parts, like especially that last like loop going forward and up, you want to go fast, because if you come out of that, you can get a shift boost. But you're taking a huge risk by just you can just get launched off. Nice.
Yeah, that MTS just is so satisfying to get. Wall strats. Because even when you're holding A and braking at the same time, sometimes like it still takes a while to slow you down enough. I'm not sure if it's actually better to use the wall, but I like to do it.
Yeah, everyone has like a different strat. I think Sanek started with the MTS to slow down, I think. Not
Was
sure.
that Sanek?
I think it was
It might have
Sanek.
been.
So yeah, everyone just kind of does his own thing to slow down. Some people use walls, others do an MTS. I personally like the MTS because it just looks like real smooth.
Alright, that's enough. I'm not gonna go for another one. I feel like I would have messed that up and I would just died immediately. Which, considering how long this track is, would have been really bad. Right here, it's also possible to fly off if you like boost before the MTS and then the MTS makes you go too fast. It's possible to land from that, but you don't really want to rely on it.
Thank God those buildings don't have collision, or this track would have been so much worse.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's really weird in this game. Like some stuff has collision, others doesn't. Other things don't, and it's just like a mess. But oh wow,
Not
there's
bad.
some. Nice.
To be fair, I haven't played this track a lot, and when I do play it, I go for like way too many shift boosts, so I barely ever finish an attempt.
I think this is like universally one of the most hated tracks in the game.
Yeah, I would say so. Like casually, people struggle because when you drop off the side of the track, since it's a half pipe, you just drop down immediately. There's no way to save it. And at the higher level, it's just like there's a lot of weird jumps and gravity gets all weird. It's just not very fun.
And sometimes the track's collision doesn't work anymore and just falls straight through. And it's
Oh yeah,
nice.
there's a double shift boost you can get there, which is pretty cool.
Nice. Getting that jump is quite risky, but very rewarding.
Yeah, I'm only gonna go for that on lap 1. Because sometimes you'll miss a checkpoint in the air, and then you'll explode upon landing. There's also a shift boost you can do here on the right side, but you want to make sure like the track is at a proper angle, otherwise gravity will just like pull you completely the wrong way. Nice little shift boost there. With a bad landing, but that's okay. So there's a strat to get that double shift boost again. See if I can get it. I think I held A for too long. Yeah, I was going too fast.
So as you can see, this track has like really long sections where there's no boost plates. So boost management is quite important on this track. You want to have your boost for the sections in between the boost plates so you can keep your speed up.
Yeah, you essentially want to chain your boost so you're always at a high speed.
And it's also pretty risky to use all your energy because on the last stretch there's like these bunch of lasers.
Whoa, okay. That's okay. Sudden shift boost.
Like when you drive like with this amount of health, you don't think they do any damage, but they actually do damage. So if you're on no health, you just die, and it's like really unfortunate that happens to you.
And it's really difficult to dodge lasers. Like you can get in between them, but I mean, Fat Shark is pretty wide. Pretty fat, one might say. Not a joke.
Swole little machine.
Yeah, ideally you'd want to be boosting here as well to keep up your speed, but yeah, it's just not safe to do. Also right there, when I tap A to get a shift boost, sometimes you can get multiple shift boosts. Like the one time I got like, I think it was a quadruple shift boost or something, and I just shot up at like 3,000 kilometers per hour, like right out the half pipe.
Yeah.
It's quite painful, so I'm glad that didn't happen. So that was pretty clean, as expected. Alright, so next up we have Ordeal, which hopefully I'll be able to show off a cool skip here as well. And we're going back to using Ganon Star, because this track is just not very well fit for Fat Shark.
We're still not quite sure which is like the most optimal machine to use here. I think it's Black Bull. But it's weird because everyone, like, there's a bunch of different playstyles you can go for.
Yeah, like you can play with a D-pad, for example, which someone actually does. And he's very good with it, which is like the most surprising thing. Better than me. Which is pretty crazy considering how much you need like the precision of an analog stick to make some movements. I don't know how he does it. Yeah, there's a lot of side effect vibes here. Some MTS chaining. So overall, this track just doesn't work too well for Fat Shark.
The Fat Shark, you just really want tracks with not like a lot of tight sections and just like a bunch of boost plates preferably.
Yeah, Fat Shark shines on any track with a lot of boost plates just because of that insane boost stats. Alright, so hopefully I'll be able to get this skip. If not, I'm just gonna not go for it again. Okay. You can fly along the left side of the building and land on the other side, but I turned way too early. But then again, in practice I've been going too late, so then I just end up hitting the building, because that building is solid. Partially. Like, the tower parts are solid, I think the parts in between aren't. It's kind of weird.
There's like a bunch of, like, especially this level has like a bunch of weird buildings that are solid and some that aren't. Like near the finish line there's like a bunch of buildings that are
Crafty. Go on.
Near the finish there's like a section of buildings to the left which are really far away from the track, but they are completely solid for some reason. And
yeah, sometimes it just doesn't make sense which ones they decided to make solid. Okay. So sometimes on slopes you also kind of keep sliding after you make a certain movement, which you're probably going to see on Trident as well, which is coming up after this. Hopefully you're not going to see it, because that's going to ruin my run, but hey. It's probably going to happen. Let's see if I can make this jump. Okay, it's good enough. You can actually land like beyond the ramp, but it's really difficult.
Fun fact, this level has the easiest suicide to pull off.
It's not final lap yet. Don't trick me.
Sorry.
I've definitely done that. Like tried to go for a suicide finish on lap 2. I can tell you, it doesn't end well.
I just like, yeah, I did it, and you're like, oh wait.
Final lap. What?
Yeah, for the super suicide on this track, you basically just... That was weird. You basically just like slowly drive into the left wall and it just launches you to the finish.
Or the right wall.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, I think most people use the left wall. Not sure.
I don't know, I always go for the right wall, and then I always bounce over, so let's hope that doesn't happen. Because that just looks so silly. There we go. So then it's just like, because of the bouncing, you gain speed, and then you just get shot off into the finish. You can do it earlier as well, and then you'll end up with more speed, probably. Fairly inconsistent.
And a lot of the machines have like their own suicide stats for some reason, and
It's like to do with the machine shape. Like
Yeah.
there's different stats for the front, the middle, and the back, like the width and everything. Like it all comes into play, and it's very intricate.
like Black Bull, for example, doesn't have a very fast suicide, but it goes really far. And another machine, the Quick Star that we use, just like launches really rapidly and then loses it quite fast. So it's really weird sometimes.
Yeah. So this is where I'm going to be quiet, because this is going to be really fast.
Yeah.
In before I miss the first shift boost. Okay, I missed it, just not in the way that kills me. That's good. Yeah, reminder, each one of those can kill you if you stay off the track for too long. Thankfully, after this dive coming up here, there's a few you can do very easily, and it's super satisfying. Just watch. If I don't bounce, that's quite unfortunate.
Still
Yeah,
salvaged.
it's not 3,000. I should not be going for this many shift boosts, I'm just gonna say that. But it's fun.
Gotta go fast.
In practice, I got like a 2-minute time here, which is like 2 seconds off my PB. But yeah, I did go kind of crazy on the shift boosts. I'm not doing right now, because otherwise we're gonna be stuck here for like an hour.
This track is always a bit weird in a marathon setting because you wanna go fast, but it's really risky.
Yeah, it's okay. Oh my gosh. I should not have done that. Boost stayed empty. That just made me like keep that speed for the part that always shoots you off. But yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about. And the funny thing is, I even skipped the shift boost there. You can do 4 at the bottom. But at that point, you're like bouncing all around, and it's almost impossible to stay on the track. So that's like the somewhat safe version. I'm gonna tap brake there, because I don't want to die now.
Oh my god.
Should not have done that, I know, but you know. 218 is like pretty solid for a marathon run, especially first try, so I am very happy I didn't die here.
Yeah, that's mini heart attack simulator done.
Oh yeah. Time for the next one.
Diamond Cup is just a bit crazy with the tracks. It's just like a lot of tracks without rails and shift boosts and all the crazy shenanigans you've seen before put together.
And that's why it's my favorite cup. Alright, so here we're going to be doing a few more shift boosts, but this time it's not like off the side of the track. It's just perfectly laid out so you can oop, strafe to the side and then you get a shift boost.
Even the staff ghost does it in this level.
Yes, this is where shift boosting was first discovered.
So even the staff ghost cheats there, so we do it as well.
Yeah.
Except we do it a bit better.
Oh yeah, because it uses hyper speeder, which is terrible for shift boosting. It also gets really narrow here, so I kind of want to be a bit careful. Because if you lose control of Fat Shark, which is pretty easy considering it has an E-rated grip, which is fairly accurate. Yeah, you're gonna be in for a bad time if you lose control at any point.
There's also this weird mechanic where you don't get as much speed from a shift boost when you're in boost state.
Yeah,
So
like it changes your acceleration in a way.
So if you were like being optimal, especially the part at the start where there's like these two boost plates into the refiller, you don't want to grab the second one if you're going really fast because it just sends you into the shift boost with in boost state, and the speed you get is a bit lower than what you normally would get.
Yeah, I don't think the world record boosts here at all. Or maybe it only does one boost at the end, I don't remember.
I don't think it boosted.
I don't think it does, no.
So that tells you something about how crazy this track can be as well.
Yeah. So that was relatively safe, but still, even when you're playing it safe, you're going fast, which is really nice.
Every time I look at Don Genie, like every other F-Zero pilot is ripped, and like then there's this fat guy in this huge ass tank of a machine.
Yeah. I mean, he's rich. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He was like, how many boosters do normal F-Zero machines have? I don't know, like 2. And he was like, I'll have 5.
So one thing about Fat Shark is that it gets pretty wobbly. Like, its track collision stats are in such a way that whenever you land badly here, you're just gonna wobble. Also,
Ow.
that can happen. At least I wasn't above the lava. So I'll take that any day.
This is also a really good track for if you want to practice with shift boosting, because it has like a bunch of downslopes, which are really useful for like getting the hang of leaving the track and getting back on in time.
So yeah, what happened there is there's like this weird gravity zone like at the drop. And if you hit that, it's just going to slow you way down. So we tried to avoid that with the MTS into side attack dive, but I mistimed it.
Oh,
Again, the same pull. Okay, it's fine. We'll just do this. That's one way to avoid the gravity zone. It's just slower because you're not getting speed from the side attack dive. Okay, that's
rip.
very unfortunate. What happened there is I was trying to MTS into the jump plates. Then one of the humps made me like go into the air and regain my grip, and then yeah, that was just kind of bad.
Yeah, there's just like a bunch of crazy things that can happen on those. I would like to call them moguls from like the skiing. So there's like a bunch of options you can get. You can like regain your grip suddenly, or you can like the funniest one for me is when it just flips you on your side against the railing and you just like glide along the rail and there's not really much you can do.
There we go. That's better.
Just looks really silly. You're just like riding the rail.
Yeah, because the rail has its own like gravity, so it'll just like pull you in if you're in the air at a slight angle.
And it counts as hitting the rail the entire time, so you just lose energy really rapidly as well.
Yeah. Generally don't want to do it, but I think it has been used in a task before.
Was it the Sonic Oval task?
No, that was something different. It's been used in serial gaps, like where someone drove on the rail, and then like because of the angled gravity, just like shot himself upward to go for a side attack dive. So that's what's meant to happen. And I missed the booster. That's not what's meant to happen.
But luckily this track doesn't have rails, so you can't kill yourself somehow. Luckily. When you go for risky boosts. Oh, what?
Okay.
There was
Of all the things, it's undulation. That's killing me.
yeah. What happened there was a random double shift boost.
Yeah, I was not expecting that much speed.
Yeah, this track's like pretty janky usually.
Like I'm not even like I can't even go for like safe strats because these are like safe strats. Just the track is being annoying.
Hey, it means we can listen to some more of the glorious Firefield music.
I was about to say. It is one of the better songs in this soundtrack. Like overall, I still prefer F-Zero X's soundtrack.
This is more like synth rock slash metal, and X is like actual rock.
Just a shame it's so compromised. Okay, I'm not even gonna go for the MTS. Just straight up driving, give or take. Final lap music is always really hype. Especially so on Cosmo Terminal. Like, it's a very bland song, but like it gets you so stressed out. Like, if you're on PB pace and you hear that final lap music, you're freaking out. Oh, I went side effect into the wall. Just a bit too late. Alright, so that's undulation finally done. Next up we have Aeropolis Dragon Slope, which is also one of my favorite tracks. Because it's a lot of side attack diving and it uses Gallant, which I am a big fan of. Actually, the record uses a different vehicle. It uses the same vehicle but with a different booster, which is a bit heavier and it just ends up working a little bit better. I'm just not used to it.
Uses Thunderbolt, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah. Like it uses Omega Gauntlet, which is normally used for snaking, but it also works really well in max speed settings.
Yeah, for like years we always assumed that Gallant Star was the best machine. But now with more theory crafting behind it, we've come to the realization that sometimes it's better to have like better speed retention for certain tracks.
That was not a shift boost. And yeah, Omega Gauntlet, this vehicle with the heavier booster, is also used for fast laps. Because it's worse on opening laps just because you have worse acceleration, but once you're up to speed, having lower acceleration also means having like losing your speed slower. So that ends up working really nicely. I really like these turns. Like, you can just perfectly MTS through them. Don't have to worry about hitting the walls. Shift boost. There we go. Ah, that was almost really clean. But yeah, now that I have boost power, we can just make this jump. It's really satisfying, and then we can get an MTS into shift boost there.
This track just flows so nice as well.
It really does. I guess one thing I should mention about side attack diving is that I'm not just spamming the button, I'm pressing it like pretty quickly, ideally every 8 frames. which ends up at like 7.5 times per second. So when you mash, it's just going to eat your extra inputs when the delay isn't over yet. So like it's not too demanding on like your hands having to mash.
Nice.
Alright, so there's one more crazy track coming up in Diamond Cup, which hopefully I'll be able to show off a cool trick, but it's really tight. Normally Black Bull was used for that track, but as it turns out, Ganon Star also works really nicely. Or if you just want to play it safe and drive normally, you use Sonic Phantom because its turning works just like perfectly to go through those turns. You'll see, it's like, it starts off pretty wide, but then it splits off into 2 paths, which are like pretty narrow. So Ganon Star is really difficult to control. You really have to master doing small quick turns. Otherwise you're just going to slam into the wall. There's this faint turn at the start here, which means we can spam some side attacks. It allows me to get up to speed to hopefully...
Oh,
Okay. There's a follow-up to that. Hopefully I'll be able to get it on a boost lap. Yeah, you see, this is like really narrow to drive through. And since Ganon Star has such bad stick turning, like this is stick turning at like its fullest, it's not enough. They have to do quick turns. You can also MTS through these turns, but for the most part it's way too risky. Because if you hit a wall, you're gonna lose so much time. Crap. Okay. Maybe I can still... Nope, I can't do the jump. Okay. We're not gonna boost, we're gonna play it safe. I really want to show up this strat, so hopefully I'll get it on the final lap. Otherwise I'll just explain what it's meant to be. It'll be less cool that way. Also, if you go too fast here, you'll fly off, so that's why I'm not boosting.
except if you're master CPU.
Oh yeah, they'll fly back onto the track, no problem.
Yeah, so basically in like, well, what? That was weird.
Oh, that's a really bad angle. Okay, so what's meant to happen is I'm landing with a lot of speed. I MTS here, hit the wall here, lift off, and land back here. It's pretty crazy. It's really cool when you get it.
Yeah, like the track's curvature just works perfectly if you get it.
Yeah.
And it just gives you this double dive from which you can retain your speed. Again, speed retention is like the key of the game.
Okay, so in the end it would have been better if I used Sonic Phantom, but I really wanted to get those dives. It's just the nature of this track at marathon runs. I think my PB there was like 140. So those dives really save a lot of time. I'm done with Diamond Cup. I'm not sure why I'm going back here. I'm not sure why I didn't just register my right inputs. Alright. So this is the one track where I use Quick Start just because it's so much better. And yeah, nothing comes even close. It also has a really cool suicide finish, which I really hope I'm going to be able to get.
What sets this machine apart from the others is its ability to just have insane MTS. Like this machine, when you start an MTS, it's a bit weird, but it just no bully. It just catapults you forward.
Yeah, like not only is it super fast, it goes in such a weird shape as well. Like I never really know like how to handle it.
Yeah, normal machines just like get this angle, and this one just like kind of shoots forward at first, and then it starts turning rapidly.
It's really weird. Like it's unlike anything else.
I think the only standard machine that comes close to it is Great Star in terms of MTS.
Even that's like not
Even
close.
that's like, yeah.
Okay, I've got way too much energy for the finish. Okay, now I might have too little.
Oh,
Ah, that's too low. Okay, no pizza. I guess I'll do it normally this time. Also, if you're wondering about the pizza, it's from one of the GDQs where I don't even remember who was running it. But basically, Naglira said, if you get the suicide finish, I'll buy you a pizza. And then he did, so I think it was AKC who did that part of the run. I think that was the relay race. So it's kind of just been like an inside joke ever since. It's so tempting to go for it, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to lose another minute. No fun allowed. Alright, so next up we have Outer Space Meteor Stream, which is also one of my favorite tracks.
It's also one of the unique tracks in the game that it has its own setting, just like Cosmo Terminal. And this track just like looks very nice, even up to today.
We also have a task for this track, so look forward to that. He's gonna finish in twice as fast as I do. Almost 3 times as fast. And this is easily my favorite venue. It's so cool, and I'm sad it's only used once.
Or maybe soon with the texture mods we can turn every track into Outer Space Meteor Stream.
Oh, hell yeah. Count me in.
Nice.
Okay, got the MTS into shift boost. That's like essential for going fast on this track. Okay, missed that MTS. Also, shift boost you can get there if you drive over just the right spots. But where you have to be depends on how quickly you're going. The faster you're going, the more left you need to be. So it's really difficult to get a feeling for where you have to be in any situation.
Because this track is so weirdly shaped on a lot of places, you can get like a bunch of shift boosts everywhere. And the optimal strats for this track are like pretty insane. Getting that shift boost at the end is also really nice because you can carry a lot of that speed into the other laps. Basically making you not having to boost as much.
Which is good because you barely don't have enough energy to keep boosting the entire way. I have too much energy for the suicide finish. It's a shame. Normally you just like MTS to the left into that wall and then just perfectly shoot you into the finish line. How quickly it does kind of depends on your bounces and everything. But yeah, it's usually at like 3,000 kilometers per hour, which is pretty solid. Alright, another 4-time track. This one's not too interesting. It's a cylinder, but it's kind of like flat-ish. It's kind of like an ellipse. It's weird. Like as long as you drive on one side, it's fine, but when you try to transition between the two sides, it gets kind of janky, so you try to be careful. There's also one boost plate that's put in a really inconvenient spot. Wow, okay. It's not that one. But yeah, like, it's almost impossible to hit. I don't know what they were thinking when they put it there. It's the next one.
Oh,
There we
got
go.
it.
Also, we can do a neat little double shift boost here by squeezing ourselves in there. Unfortunately, I only got a single shift boost.
I think it's better to get the single one because you can actually control that. Double one just usually shoots you like way too far away.
If you're expecting it, you can definitely manage it.
But this is like for consistency's sake, the single one is nice to have.
Yeah, definitely.
You can see like it's going over the sides very carefully, otherwise you just get launched. Just lose all your speed.
Also, this turn is like super weird. If you don't go up it like at that side, it just whoa. Okay, cylinder physics, and that was not too bad. Still, it can get a lot worse. I should have taken the bottom side for the booster. But yeah, like that ending part is really difficult because it gets so narrow and you just spin out of control very easily. Alright, it's 149. I guess that's okay. I just really don't like this track, so I'm happy with almost any run. And that's rank 10. Like, I've not finished a lot of runs on this track. Thunder Road. This one is very well liked by almost everybody. It just works so well. It's a very long track, but it just flows together really well. It's like a constant thrill. It's just a good track.
Does everything as well, a bunch of dives. Like some places you can do some cool stuff as well.
Some really weird TS chaining right there, but it works. So if we haven't mentioned this yet, the tracks in this cup are from F-Zero AX, which is the arcade counterpart to this game. And that just had these 6 tracks. And it has its own unique physics, it has its own unique tech. Like, you can't do snaking in the traditional way that you do it in this game. But it does have turbo drifting, which is even more ridiculous. And it allows you to go up to like 4,000 kilometers per hour pretty easily, especially with a custom machine. Like, you can turbo drift in a straight line, and then a track like this just works perfectly. Like, at that part, you would just go super fast and you start turning. Like, when you get good at turbo drifting, it's super satisfying, but it's also super difficult. It doesn't help that controls in AX are super sensitive.
Yeah, because we're playing it with a GameCube controller while it's meant to be played on an arcade machine. So like, usually you would have a steering wheel to do the inputs, and now you just have like an analog stick with like way less room on it.
Yeah. And also the strafing is digital, so when you strafe, how far you go is also determined by your speed. So when you go like from 0 to full strafe, when you're going that fast, it just shoots you off to the side. It's really difficult to control, but it's also really fun. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to find arcade machines these days.
Yeah, you can see in the AX tracks, like some of these tracks have like checkpoint markers on them, which is from the arcade game. You could get time extensions on them.
Yeah, it had 2 modes. It has a race mode and time attack mode, and you just have a timer, and with every checkpoint... Ooh, that was nice. With every checkpoint, you get some more time, and some of them are actually pretty tight to get. It also has a variable amount of laps. So, for example, Heracles Screw Drive, which we did at the beginning, that one has 6 laps in AX. Meteor Stream has 4, and then Thunder Road has 3, Spiral has 3. Let me think, I'm forgetting something. Like Sonic Oval has 8, but then there's... Oh yeah, Cylinder Wave. I think that has 4 or 5.
I'm not sure.
But yeah, that's why they kind of like balanced it. So even when you pick a shorter track, you can still get like the same amount of game time out of your money.
This is the longest track in the game, and it's quite an uneventful track, I would say. Maybe if Val gets like the insane skips, it's...
Don't count on it. Spiral skip is really difficult with Gallant Star, but I have been able to get it a few times.
It's really hard, but it's really nice if you get it, otherwise the track is just kinda bland.
it's kind of just like TS chaining and just one skip at the start, which is pretty cool. Oh, that's
God.
way too high. Oh my god, I can't believe I saved that.
Nice.
So the way that works is if you land too far to the left, you explode. If you land too early, you explode. If you land too far to the right, you explode. Which is pretty cool. It's something to do with like hitting a checkpoint and also not going too far, like without landing. Ooh, shit
wow.
boost. That's unexpected. Alright. Perfectly dodged that boost plate. That's good.
Another one.
Pretty decent lift off. You can actually skip like that ramp entirely and land at the spiral right away. But that's not bad at all. Keep going like super high, but like I've finally understood how the checkpoint system works. So I know how to salvage it if I can. Which you can't always do. It's also possible to skip that top platform that splits apart, but it's
quite risky as well because sometimes the collision doesn't work if you land on the wrong spot. You just fall through the track as
I've
well.
seen that happen. It's weird. Okay, I'm going way too slow to be getting... Never mind. Yes!
Oh, yes.
Okay, that's spiral skip. That's really difficult. It's also one of those things where if you land too early, you die because you haven't hit the checkpoint that's forward yet. So you'd be skipping too many checkpoints before landing.
Yeah, I was kind of scared you would die there. I was like...
That was pretty close to the edge, yeah. I'm also not going to go for this skip again because I don't want to lose 2 minutes if I explode.
Yeah, that spiral skip is like one of the bigger shortcuts you can do in the game.
Yeah, that and like zero gaps have the the biggest skips, I would say. Okay, now I'm going too slow to get it. We're just gonna land down here.
Honestly, still a really good run of this track though.
Yeah, my PB is 304. I think I improved it to recently. Yeah, that's still top 10. Alright, so we have one more track coming up, and that'll be a very short one. So yeah, get ready on time in about a minute. We're gonna be using Hard Banger. I have to. Piloted, of course, by my boy Super Arrow. So the thing about Hard Banger is that it doesn't turn, like, at all. So what you do is it's a combination of side attacks and, like, mashing the shoulder buttons. Fortunately, this track doesn't have a lot of turns, but on some tracks you just, like, have to keep mashing the shoulder buttons, and I think that's been dubbed banging the shoulder buttons.
Yeah, quick banging.
Quick banging, right, that was it.
But yeah, this machine, it might look like really bad because it can turn and stuff, but on some tracks it retains speed so well. It actually has like, it's almost optimal to use this machine, especially on the level we saw earlier, Trident. It has the fast lap world record there, just because it has this like ludicrous speed retention.
It can also get like a 50-second time on serial gaps, which is like within 10 seconds of the record. I don't know exactly what the record is. Anyway, get ready on time. 3, 2, 1, time. Alright, I'll take it. We still have the donation incentive, which was also calculated into the estimate, which thankfully was met, so we get to show off some really, really cool stuff.
And it was indeed, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. And you thought there wouldn't be any more F-Zero.
There's always room for more F-Zero.
I agree.
Alright, so we're gonna start things off like pretty tame with Loop Cross. This is a task made by E-Dragon. This was one of the earlier tasks he did, so he didn't go like all out with shift boost and stuff like you'll see on the later ones. But this is kind of to show how well you can perform on this track just by having good MTS chaining, because normally the shape of the track really gets in the way. And obviously in TAS you have like full control over that. And also you can do stuff really quickly. But yeah, this is a machine you didn't see at all during my run, because I don't like using it, and it's generally not too much faster than the other machines I picked. But yeah, I think it has the best MTS out of all the standard machines.
And it has like a lot of weight to it, so it's really good at keeping speed as well.
Yeah, its boost on the other hand is kind of disappointing.
It's really long, but not that powerful.
Yeah. But yeah, this task I think was from 2014. This was also before TS chaining was found, so MTS chaining without letting go of A. I'm not sure why we didn't think of that, but hey. So that's why at the start I didn't start TS chaining right away, even though that would be optimal. So this task could still be improved quite a bit. However, it does have a really cool suicide finish going for it. So just watch that. So right here, make sure not to collect too much energy, otherwise he would not be able to do the suicide finish the way he wants to. Gets a shift boost there on the downhill, and there we go. So if you remember, normally there's the tunnel that curves like to the right, and he just like bounced all the way to the finish. So that was pretty tame. This was one of his later tasks, Spiral. So I just took a bit over 3 minutes. Watch how quickly he does this. This one also made by E-Dragon.
Don't forget to put on another song. Brain Cleaner.
Oh, yeah,
It's
good
not
call.
that
There we
good.
go, Phoenix. My favorite. So at the start, it looks pretty tame. Like, you could do this in real time. So that's the skip. Nice and easy. But then he gets to the cylinder. You can do a lot of crazy stuff on cylinders.
I mean, this is pretty normal, right?
I mean, it can go crazier. So if you were to see like the in-game camera, you would have the little pilot in the top left of the screen. Oh, that's spiral skip, by the way. But yeah, if the character starts vibrating more, the faster you're going, so it just looks absolutely ridiculous when you're going this fast. Like, it just looks like he is not okay. Or whoever's driving.
He's just like, out of the
machine.
picture sometimes.
Oh yeah, he like completely rotates. You see like the top of his head, or like you just see his shoulder or whatever. It's a shame we don't see that in replay mode, but I'm just very glad replay mode exists at all, so we can show up these tasks in real time, and also you can save your PBs and everything. Like, it's super convenient. So we're on the final lap. Also notice that he takes this path. He doesn't do the skip because that would be slower. He just goes so fast on the track itself that it's better to not skip the track at all. Except for when he does that little jump, which is pretty cute. It's also amazing how he even makes those turns at all, because they are pretty tight. Alright, so that is Green Plant Spiral, ending with a bit of a suicide finish. Nothing too special there. So next up we also have a task of Zero Gaps. This one was made by Jack20. He is an F-Zero X player who has also done a lot of F-Zero X tasks, including completing tracks while driving backwards, while going full speed almost the entire time, because that's what F-Zero X does. It has a lot of crazy dives. Oh my god. Give me the speedometer, please. So, again, this looks pretty normal. And then he hits the jump plates, he gets like a triple shift boost or whatever. And I didn't even know you could jump that far without
Yeah.
exploding. It's an experience. Like, this was his first time passing F-Zero GX. Like, this is super impressive. So that's Zero Gaps.
And now my favorite.
Right, so now for the final one, Meteor Stream. This one's also gonna go by really quickly. This one is again made by E-Dragon. This was one of his last tasks he made before retiring. But yeah, you've seen how much crazy stuff you can do on cylinders and pipes. Consider how this track is like constantly waving around and like angle and stuff. Let's go for a different song. Let's go for Captain Falcon. Nice and cheesy.
And it starts pretty normal and like it goes out of hand real fast.
Yeah, then he gets to the slope parts and it's hard to keep up sometimes. So the thing about this is also there's a speed cap of 10,000 kilometers per hour, which you can exceed for one frame, and he hits 17k kilometers per hour for one frame. I think it's like maybe it was on second lap. I don't remember. Anyway, also cute little jump there. I love that.
That was that.
So. Yeah, full credit to E-Dragon and Jack20 for making these awesome passes. So, yeah, I guess that is me done with F-Zero. I'm not sure what's up next.
Up next, we have a setup buffer, which is New Super Mario Bros. Wii by Shadow Frost, or Frosty. That being
Alright.
said, though, we are